Hello, Capricorn. Welcome back or welcome to Marine K Tarot. This is going to be your reading for August 2025. So I hope you're doing all right. What have you been up to? Mm? I was just saying this to Saj that I feel like I'm having to reintroduce myself and catch up with everybody because I had that unexpected absence last month. But I hope you enjoyed Sarah from Tarot by Peachy, who very kindly stood in. Such a wonderful example of Capricorn energy. Um, she's one of my favourite people. So, and I hope if you do read tarot yourself or you're interested, you checked out her online store for amazing tarot decks just at tarotbypeachy.com. So, let's see. This month, what we're doing is we're going to pull an oracle card from Find Your Own Way Oracle by Ari Wisner, and the tarot is going to be from the Visionary Woman Tarot by Kristine Gorman. Both new decks to the market, and they are wonderful. And these cards are these are from the Astrosoul astrology deck, and they are by Studio Artemy. Right, brain fog there. So let's see what energy is coming through for Capricorn. Can we have a oracle card, please, for Capricorn for August 2025? So what have you been up to, Cap? You taking a break for world domination just for a while? Oh, I love you. I love you so much. Right, okay, Capricorn, what's happening? Your sacred garden. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Wild hair. I used to have hair that long when I was wee. Side note, in case you're interested. Right, let's put them up here. So, what am I feeling like with this card? Looking at this card, the thing that comes to mind and the thing that draws my attention is this key. Okay? And I think over the month of August, I mean, it's traditionally a time of kind of downing tools, isn't it? You know, we kind of lock up the office, whatever office that may be, and we go on our holidays. So we do, and we go and we have a nice wee chill out time. And I think that, you know, for you more than most Capricorn, there's this reluctance to put your feet up. You know, there's this kind of I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but there's almost this kind of a self-imposed martyrdom with you saying, oh well, I need to work, I need to keep doing the work, I need to keep building the empire, you know. And I think you've had a pretty rough trot the last wee while. Especially with Pluto having dug right through your sign and upended you entirely. What I would say is, you know, you're still getting used to the fact that Pluto is no longer in your sign. It's still in a part of your chart, obviously, but it's moved out of the house of the sun, the house where your sun is, if you're watching this as a Capricorn sun. And I think that, you know, there's still this period of adjustment when we have particularly long transits, you know, and Pluto being one of the longest transits in a sign, we tend to, you know, it takes us time to get used to new energy. It takes us time to get used to things just really kind of making sense again. You know, discovering who we are now after the particular planets left our sign. You know, there's that period, and it does feel like that period of adjustment in this sacred garden. Maybe you have got your whatever the garden looks like, and it might be a physical garden. You might be lucky enough to have your own green space, or it could be a window box, or it could just be a plant on a shelf. But whatever place you feel that is your sanctuary, I think that's more what it is. As opposed to garden is a sanctuary. It's about finding a sanctuary for yourself. It could be a home. You know, it could be, you know, could have been a lot of upheaval with regards to home and stability and where you feel like home is. It could be a huge part of your story so far. So what I would suggest is with this card, find that key, keep that key close to your heart, whether it's the keys to a new property, whether it's the keys to a new car, or whether it's the keys to something a bit more esoteric, something a bit more kind of abstract. You finally found the key to, I don't know, like a particular lifestyle that you want to pursue, something like that. But yeah, but don't be too hard on yourself, Capricorn, please, right? please try and be a bit more free and easy. And I know you can be free and easy, so just don't be saying as if you can't be. So let's see. Let's see what the tarot has to say for you for August 2025 for Capricorn. Oh, excuse my sinuses, they're getting a bit crazy. Okay, my extra wee shuffle. I do this off camera as well before I start, but I like to do it on camera as well. So we have got Temperance, the World, Seven of Pentacles, Three of Cups, the Queen of Cups, and the Four of Pentacles. Okay, the card at the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Let's make sure all they are in shot so that you can see them. Okay. Now, this feels very feminine. Okay, and I don't mean gender. I just mean in general, right? There you're showing up for yourself in the Four of Pentacles. Okay, Four of Pentacles is a card of Capricorn. It's the Sun in Capricorn. Okay, so talking about that Pluto influence over what's been going on recently. It feels very much that, how can I say this? It feels like you need to experience life in another angle, in another way, from another perspective. That's what it feels like. It feels like there's this longing in you. Okay. There's a longing in you, and then we've got the world showing up for you is Saturn, right? So the world is Saturn. And what it's like is, it's as if you're just no sure, Capricorn. There's a lot of confusion. It feels like there's confusion. There's nothing really to indicate on the table that there's confusion, but it just feels difficult, and it just feels like there's so much going on. Like we've right, Three of Cups, right? We've got Mercury and Cancer. So that's your opposite side, right? And it just feels really, then you've got Saturn and Taurus with the Seven of Pentacles. You've got Jupiter. You get Queen of Cups, you get Four of Pentacles, right? And you get the Knight of Pentacles. So I say it's very earthy. It's very grounded, which is what we would expect for you, Capricorn. It feels very sensible. That's what it feels like. It feels like a very sensible set of cards. But we've got that Three of Cups showing up, right? Just to remind you that there needs to be good times, there needs to be celebrations. And I think that the hopefulness of that Seven of Pentacles showing up there. You know, it's like that flower, it looks like it's blooming to me. And it's got the pentacles just waiting to be harvested, I would say, Capricorn. But it's as if it just needs a bit more sunshine. And what strikes me as well is the longing in this Queen of Cups. And what I love about this particular imagery, right, is we look at the Queen of Cups, it's as if there's what's going on, right, in the outside, but there's what's going on inside her head. And it's as if she's dreaming of the travelling. And you usually like to stay where you are, Capricorn. You know, you like your home comforts, you like your creature comforts. But as well, there's a similar story in the World card, you know, the late great Rachel Pollock. You know, there's like this kind of a cityscape here, but there's still water there. My impression is like, you know, there's still water there. And I think that, you know, if you're going to be travelling this month, Capricorn, it's going to do you the world of good. You know, see you get out of the normal four walls that you inhabit. Not that I'm suggesting that you only live in one room. I'm not saying that, but you know, kind of expanding your reach, expanding your horizons, literally expanding your horizons. You know, because there's an alchemy that will take place because we've got temperance here. You know, and it's like with the two cups, you know, kind of flowing in order to create something new. And I think that's what you've been needing, Capricorn. You know, you've been needing that spark of something that comes, and it's through friendship and connection that spark is going to be ignited in your life, you know. I always kind of remind myself at times when, you know, I've been going through a hard time, and it's like there's people who show up for you, right? Say if times are hard, there's people that show up for you, and there's people who you not necessarily expect to show up for you, but there's almost like a kind of a, oh well, such and such a person's a really good friend, so absolutely in times of trouble they'll show up for me, you know. And there's this kind of a really strong belief that will happen, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes people don't, and you know, that's their stuff. You know, they might have personal stuff going on of their own, or they might just not know what to do, or you know what, basically they might just not want to. As horrible as that sounds, and as a Taurus, I find that really difficult to comprehend, how you could leave a friend, you know, just like kind of in the lurch without doing something to try and help. And I think that by doing so, it's really a time of recognising who the people that have got your back are. And I think that you're coming to that realisation. And you've been coming to that realisation for quite a while now, Capricorn. I feel that we've spoke about this extensively, where some of you have been going through some complete upheaval and, you know, just not knowing what weighs up most of the time, which is incredibly unsettling for a Capricorn. It's incredibly upsetting for any earth sign. So it's like having to let go of all these things, and it does feel like a very Saturnine lesson. Saturn's your ruling planet. You know, you understand the energy Saturn very well, but this has been a particularly trying time. You know, but it feels like you know, your heart is moving in the right direction, Capricorn. And I think, you know, for some of you in particular, there's a period of peace coming, you know. And I mean, even in this card here, the Four of Pentacles, it looks very much like, let me just have a look at this. mean, it looks like this woman is carrying some kind of suitcase. You know, she's got some kind of luggage going on there. And I do feel like some of you are making permanent moves to relocate, or you're dreaming of that. So what I would say is keep the dream alive, Capricorn. You know, if you've got it in your mind and in your head, right, I am setting an intention where I am going to go. And maybe there's been like, you know, it might be slow. We've got the Knight of Pentacles here. It'll be slow and it'll be steady. It'll be slow and steady movement. And what's interesting as well is I'm just picking up in this kind of a green feather motif. And whilst that in the Four of Pentacles here, that is a green feather, you know, but it's a green background here in this building. And it feels like we've got a feather motif here. It feels like there's a story here, Capricorn, you know, that finally, yes, you will be able to spread your wings and you will be able to go to wherever it is you're wanting to go. Maybe it's your sacred garden, you know, maybe it's a property that's going to have a garden for the first time in, like, maybe all your life. Maybe you've always lived in buildings, etc., that don't have any access to, you know, outdoor space. But it just feels like going forward, there will be those opportunities. And if you are literally crossing seas, then amazing, Capricorn. You know, I hope it's everything that you want and everything that you've been wishing for, or that you're a few steps closer to getting to that, outcome. So Capricorn, big changes are happening in August. I think that August is going to be that. I think, look, you're going to come back to, you know, once this period of time is over, you know, and you've maybe reached a destination, I think you're going to, like, kind of think back to what was the pivotal turning point. And I think that August 2025 is going to be one of the pivotal turning points, you know, because we've got, like, we're in Leo season now, but the sun has just been, like, in your opposite sign. So often that can take up a lot of our, like, highlights for shadows. That's what I always see. Like, when the sun's in your opposite sign, it's an opportunity for the sun to shine on, like, more shadows. I know certainly when the sun is in Scorpio, it's a time for me to kind of really, like, you know, reflect and work out exactly what's going on. So yeah, I think that it would be a good idea, you know, to start planning, or if you're already planning, add to the plans, you know, realise that it's going to be a real thing, Capricorn. Okay, my darlings, so you take care, have a wonderful August. If you want to book a personal reading, you can do so in the description box below, follow on the link, and I will see you next month. Okay, bye.